Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Thingy Bobs, listen, we won't plan it. We'll just roll with the punches. We're back. How we doing, Anthony? You well, buddy?
Yeah. You know, Mike, I've had a pretty good week. I got one of my kids here with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's been really cool. My 8-year-old, second oldest. It's been fun. She's really funny. Like when you get her alone away from her sisters, I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up being a comedian because the kid is hilarious. And
that's what I say about Lucas, but go on, carry on.
It's just been fun because normally, you know, I'm here mostly by myself. So if I'm not in practice or training or whatever, I'm just hanging out alone. So it's been cool to have like a little tag along with me the whole time. We went out to dinner a couple times. We went to the aquarium. She just lost her mind at the, you know, all the animals and fish and stuff at the aquarium. So
nice.
Yeah, it's been fun. She's been telling everyone that will listen that she flew first class. So
beautiful.
So that's hilarious. We go to Kansas City today to go to my oldest volleyball tournament. We're meeting them in Kansas City, so we get to go fly again. She likes flying, so it's been a fun week.
Nice. Yeah, it's those moments, those times where it's just one-on-one that you really get a deeper connection with your children. Like when I take Lucas out and we do something, or Callum or whatever, or even Ellie. Yeah, you know, that's when you just, I don't know, you connect on a much deeper level. And it's just that.
They're different when they're separated.
The quality time, you know what I mean? There's no distractions. It's just you two. And yeah, sitting on first class. Life is good for one Anthony Smith. As we know, this weekend is the weekend of UFC 287. So we have got a lot to discuss, a lot to digest, a lot to go through. And we're going to make some predictions, if you don't mind, Mr. Anthony Smith. But let's just get this out of the way real quick. I was scrolling social media this morning and I see that there's a new main event at the Charlotte fight now, which of course you were supposed to fight Johnny Walker. So you said on the text this morning you would like to address that. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, it's not really so much me. I don't, because it doesn't really bother me, but I know that a lot of people, because the Jamal Hill fight I lost the Jamal Hill fight, and then, you know, the backup thing in Brazil happened, and then it was supposed to be March 25th, and then they bumped it back to, you know, May 13th. So there's been a bunch of stuff going on with this fight. It's been moved around a bunch. So it seemed like people are I'm just getting blown up. They're just like, is the fight not happening? Is there something wrong? Are you injured? Is Johnny hurt? You know, and I'm very fortunate that people are like coming to my defense, you know, like saying, oh, this is bullshit. Anthony should be listen, guys, I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me at all. It's the only difference is it's 3 rounds versus 5, which to be honest is an easier fight. So it's 10 less minutes potentially.
Absolutely.
The UFC is, I obviously can't get into details, but the UFC is taking great care of me. I am not upset. It doesn't matter. I'm good. Johnny's good. I signed the new contract, changing it from 5 rounds to 3 yesterday. So we are 100% go. I am so dialed in and I'm so focused. I could not give any shits less. Like if it's the first fight, the last fight, somewhere in the middle, I do not care. I'm focused on me and that's it.
Listen, all that matters to you right now is going out there and beating Johnny Walker. And as you said, whether it's the first fight of the night or the last fight of the night, none of that really matters. Let me ask you this, though. On social media, are you seeing like the haters going, oh, look at that, Smith's been bumped down, as if like it's a real big blow to you? Because as you say, number one, you're going to have less pressure. You're going to have less media attention, so less hassle in general. You're going to get paid the same, or if not, a little bump. Yeah, I mean, other than if you allow it to, I mean, of course, you're going to do 15 minutes instead of 25, which is huge. And in fact, never mind what I was going to say. Let me ask you this. In terms of the stylistic approach against Johnny Walker, is that a plus or a negative? You know, because some people, you want to get into the later rounds.
Yeah,
and Johnny's an explosive dude.
I think it's a plus for me. And truly, I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. But, you know, if Johnny comes out and he's just balls to the wall and puts his foot on the gas and we're going 25 minutes, I can't engage in all of that because both of us are going to get tired, and then it's a disaster. So at 15 minutes, I can put my foot on the gas and just go and not have to worry about conserving energy, managing my output. I can just go for 15 minutes and have absolutely zero issues. I've also been training to push myself for 5 rounds, and there's only four weeks of training left. So I've done 6, almost 7 weeks of training as if it was 5 rounds. So it's like, I'm already way ahead of the schedule if we were only training for 3. The only difference is the amount of rounds you do, the extra conditioning sessions and all that stuff. But for the most part, training camps are the same, whether it's 3 or 5. You just push the amount of sparring rounds, you push the amount of rolling rounds, you push the conditioning a little bit harder, so, or at least longer. So I think it benefits me, to be honest, because I don't have to worry about if he starts to go off and go crazy. I don't have to worry about backing out of some of those firework exchanges and scrambles and getting kind of crazy, and conserve because I have the extra 10 minutes. I can play that game with him. So, and yeah, I have seen a couple of the, like, oh, it's, they're mad at Anthony. Listen, I don't think they didn't even tell me who it was going to be. So I found out with everyone else. Dana loves the guys coming off the Contender Series. Yep. That Almeida heavyweight has got a lot of hype. He's explosive. And let's be honest, whether Rosenstrike is winning or losing, mostly all the fights he's been in have been exciting. It's either he's getting finished or he's finishing somebody. So it's guaranteed to end an ABC show with a knockout. I'll guarantee that.
Yeah, exactly. Because there is something about the heavyweights. You know what I mean? It does capture the imagination with Jairzinho. Yeah, all right. He's had some tough losses recently, but he's one of those guys. He is a knockout artist. If he's going to win, someone's going to go to sleep. And on the flip side, Jailton Almeida, I mean, the guy's just flying. Let's be honest. And as you say, Dana loves the guys off the Contender Series, and so far, in the UFC, Jailton Almeida, I'm looking now. So he won on the Contender Series round 2, and then it was 3 first-round stoppages, and then a second-round stoppage. So he's 4-0 in the UFC, 5 if you count the Contender. They're all stoppages, and it's a heavyweight bout. So, yeah, I just think they're trying to really give Jailton Almeida that little bump in popularity because he's clearly showing.
What a platform. Yeah. I mean, it's an ABC main event. If he's going to do something, the heavyweight division needs some new blood like that. It's a little bit tricky at the top right now. If you take out Stipe, John Jones, Curtis Blades, and Tom Aspinall and a couple of those guys, there's not a whole lot of names and depth right there. So I'm good with it. I know people make it seem like this is some attack on me. I don't care. I'm a company guy. My paycheck's coming. My fight's still there. The co-main event is not terrible to be. Like how ignorant and how arrogant of me. Once upon a time, I was begging for someone to even want to interview me for some regional show that I was fighting on. Like, I would never complain about being co-main event in the UFC. I'm in a fantastic place in life.
Oh, brother, you're still doing media, because I'm going to send in a media request to Nobi. I'm going to do a little virtual Zoom, because that's what I did one yesterday with Jorge Masvidal. It's on this channel. If you haven't watched it, click the link. It's on there. I don't know. It's on the video section, so go check it out. So I will do it if I'm not there in person, which I'm going to try and be. Now, that seems like a natural segue to a topic which I was going to get to later. But there's a lot of talk, I don't know if you've seen it, about Francis Ngannou right now. PFL have been in discussions. Bare Knuckle Boxing have said that he's asking for unrealistic money. I think Tyson Fury did an April Fool's joke on his Instagram on the 1st of April. Chael Sonnen's come out and said that the clock is ticking for Francis Ngannou. And I just thought we'd address this real quick, seeing as we were talking about heavyweights. Francis, as we know, parted ways with the company. I'm not telling you, I'm telling the listeners. Parted ways with the company after a year of negotiation, wanted, phenomenal money, let's be honest, wanted something like 20 million or something crazy. Yeah, apparently by all accounts, he was offered 6 million for the Jones fight. Could have had 3 fights by now and had a fair, pretty decent bank account. And now Bare Knuckle, as you know, as a lot of people know in the business, are throwing around ridiculous sums of money because they're trying to attract those cachet fighters, marquee fighters. They've said that it's unrealistic money. PFL are talking about him coming in and doing a season. Well, there's 1 million if you get through the whole. If you win the series, you get 1 million. Well, that ain't gonna do it for Francis. I don't think the boxing world, Anthony Joshua, Fury, and Wilder, they're the top runners. You can't eat Usyk. You can't even get Fury to fight Usyk. You can't get Fury to fight Joshua. I don't think any of that's going to happen. So what's your take on all of this? Because Francis is 36, and I kind of agree with what Chael Sonnen said. The clock is ticking and is kind of running out. Final point before I hand it over to you, because the more John Jones is the heavyweight champ and the more fights he wins, that kind of diminishes the bargaining power of Francis, because it's like, hold on, you're not the UFC champ anymore. It's John Jones. He's out there. He's fighting. He's winning. And that lowers the stock, if you will. And I'm a fan of Francis. But anyway, give me your thoughts, Anthony.
Yeah, this is I see what you're doing. Like you're trying to bring it up and talk about it without shitting on Francis, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do too, because I like
100%. Same.
I like him, and I want him to get all the money possible. So I don't want to seem like I'm bad mouthing him, but at the same time, I do agree with Chael, and Dave Feldman kind of said like he's asking for unrealistic money. Like, will he get that at some point? I don't know, maybe, but I think that the more time that goes, yeah, me too. But the more time that goes, and I think Feldman from Bare Knuckle said this, the more time that goes, that his stock is diminishing, because he was the biggest news in the business for a couple months. Francis Ngannou's leaving, he's leaving, and then like now it's, well, John Jones is the heavyweight champion, and the storylines move so quickly in MMA because there's so much going on, and the sport is so busy, and there is no off season, so he's kind of getting pushed to the back where no one's really talking about it anymore. I think you bring up a great point in boxing where Tyson Fury, like you said, like the Usyk fight seemed like it was done, and now it's not. So in order to get the type of money that he's commanding, he's going to have to be able to be, Usyk's one of the best heavyweight boxers in the world, and he's not even in a position where he can ask for more than a 30 like a 70-30 split. I mean,
good point.
What is Francis going to be able to get for a split? A 90-10? That's probably not $20 million, I would imagine. So,
and check this out. Rebecca came up with a good point. I was talking about this to her, and she said, for somebody like a Tyson or Usyk or a Wild, it's a lose-lose as well, because you're definitely expected to beat the MMA guy that's never boxed professionally, and God forbid. So when you do win, yeah, whatever, and if you lose, oh my God, you become the laughing stock of the boxing world. You know what I'm saying?
And your career is essentially over.
Yeah, 100%. So it's I doubt those three big names will do it. Anyway, as you said, we're not shitting on Francis Ngannou.
No, I want him to get paid.
And I hope he gets paid. I do. Too. But I think he's managing himself right now, which I don't know who's in his ear. Anyway, enough of that. We got massive stories.
You know what would be crazy? What if just out of nowhere, like Stipe fights John, and then just say John wins? I don't know if he will or not. Obviously, Stipe is my friend, but just say John is the champion. All of a sudden, this huge announcement, and it's like Francis the Predator comes on the screen. It's like Francis is back. That'd be insane.
Oh, yeah. That's what I want. I want Francis to go and sign back with the UFC. I know Dana said at a press conference it would never happen.
I know.
Hopefully they can compromise, cooler heads prevail. Who knows? You don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And you got to look at it also from Dana's perspective. You spend a year negotiating with somebody and then they walk away. It's kind of like, well, I'm not doing that again.
Kind of like,
Exactly. Recently, I partnered with a company called Legacy Precious Metals. Now, I know a lot of people are going through tough times right now, but if you are fortunate enough to where you have a few dollars left over every month to think about investing, then maybe investing in gold and silver through Legacy Precious Metals might be for you. Now, the stock market, if you follow that stuff, it's all over the place. In fact, it's plummeting right now. But precious metals, they've always held their value or even increased. So, of course, that's something that we're all interested in. Does it have to be a lot of money? It can just be a little bit, because it all adds up over time. Now, if you click the link, there is a guide there. It'll tell you all about investing in gold and silver, or you can give them a call and they will answer all of your questions at 866-933-0317. Anyway, enough of that. We got big fights. We got title fights. We got co-main event barn burners, and we've got Harrington. Come to the screen. Show your face. Get in the place. How are you, buddy? You well?
Where's the baby?
Baby's sleeping in the bassinet. I'm not waking up the baby.
Back up from the microphone. Never mind waking up the baby. You bloody... I'm going to have damaged ears as well as eyes. Jeez Louise.
Sorry about that, Mike. How you guys doing?
Buddy? Fantastic. What should we go to first, Anthony, in terms of the UFC 287? Give us the breakdown of what is going on between Jorge Masvidal and Gilbert Burns and Kevin Holland, because I saw the footage yesterday. They were all shouting back and forth. Jorge's looking, he's got quite the outfit on, and he's got the braids in the hair. He's looking smooth.
I thought his hair looked fantastic. His hair always looks so cool.
Hey, Brian, let's see if we can get a still of the hair, or just play the video for crying out loud. But Harrington, give us a quick bit of background before Brian plays it.
Well, you can set your watch by it. It's a Kevin Holland fight week, so of course he's having fights in the fighter lobby, in the lobby of the fighter hotel with other fighters. I know he was talking a whole bunch of crap about Jorge Masvidal on the recent embedded that came out the morning before this happened, and the guys just had an exchange of words in the lobby here. There's two different videos. I think this one is them shouting at each other, then the other one is Holland getting escorted out.
No, just play this one, man. Who's that guy?
I don't know. He looks familiar though.
Yeah, he does look familiar. Ripping the shirt up. What's he doing?
Let's go.
Yeah, I've got abs, bro. And I've got a bullet. So I'm a dangerous guy. To be fair to what Harrington said, it wouldn't be a Masvidal fight week either, unless he was getting into a fight with someone, because he don't give a shit. Thoughts, Mr. Smith?
It's just par for the course. When I seen it though, I did think like I would love to see Kevin Holland and Masvidal fight though. Probably a pretty good fight. Neither one of those guys are probably shooting takedowns or anything, so that'd be exciting. I'm real excited. I know we're probably going to get into this a little bit, but I'm excited to see Masvidal back. Because sometimes he does kind of go off the radar and he ends up being forgotten a little bit, and then he comes back and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot he's pretty goddamn good. His last three he's got 3 losses, I guess, but like they're Colby and 2 to Kamaru Usman. It's not like he's getting beat by nobodies. He's. Even the Usman fight was pretty competitive until he got knocked out. Like he did a good job defending takedowns. He was able to hurt Colby late in that fight. Like, I don't know. I think sometimes we look at Masvidal, and even me, I'm always like, man, why are you always so mad? Like, he's just so angry all the time. But then you see how people talk about him, and it's kind of like, well, shit, I guess I see why. He gets shit on a lot.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Let's be honest. And that first fight with Usman on Fight Island, short notice-ish, so they say. And, he clearly lost the decision. But he never got his ass kicked, And then in the rematch, he was doing all right until that beautiful right hand from Kamaru Usman. And then, of course, last time out against Colby, he got stifled. He got held up against the fence, kind of got taken down a little bit. Hey, babe, shut this window as well, would you, sweetheart? I just did a 30-minute Peloton right before we did this, so I've been sweating. Shit. So I've had the fan on, I've had the window open, and now I'm freezing my balls off. No, and against Colby, again, he never got his ass kicked. He clearly lost the fight. You can't make that kind of case. He got controlled, he got pushed up against the fence and taken down a fair bit. But the difference in takedown ability from someone with the wrestling caliber of an Usman or a Covington to a Gilbert Burns is very different. As you were saying, I think it was last episode, about that wrestler that you were training with. Now, granted, he's, again, top of the food chain, very, very much the next level. But a collegiate-style wrestler to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu-style takedown artist, not saying Gilbert doesn't pose a threat, because, of course, he does. But Gilbert's biggest threat is if he gets you down on the ground. You know what I mean? So if it's a 100% threat on the ground, it's, I'd say, a 75% threat in terms of the takedown ability, where it's reversed against Usman and Covington. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Where it's 100% threat of the takedown, not so much danger once you're down there.
No, they're just going to cling on to you. They're going to hold you. They're going to shoulder bump you. They might give you a little elbow and a little body head with the ground and pound, but you're not going to get the living shit kicked out of you. Right.
And I definitely agree with that. Gilbert's a great wrestler, but it's in terms of levels, like, we were talking about, the guy that I've been working with, David Taylor. It's, I can wrestle at the first, second, and like third level, where you got the initial shot, they get stuffed, you chain it to another one, they stuff that, you go the other, like, I can do that. but he's at like, the 4th, 5th, 6th level. Like Gilbert's very much like me. Like he's got really nasty blast doubles that he can chain into a single leg. But at that point, if you're up against the fence and you got some decent takedown defense, I think you'll be okay. But Colby is that high level, Kamaru's that high level, crazy amount of chain wrestling. And Gilbert's more willing to strike than Colby is. And I think that's the difference is Gilbert's more well-rounded than Colby Covington is. His wrestling's not as good, and he's not as tenacious in his pursuit of the takedown, because Gilbert's like, well, if I don't get it, I can still stand and strike. And if shit gets hairy, I can pull guard if I had to. He's got other places he can fight, which I think serves Masvidal a little bit better.
I think on the feet, Masvidal's definitely a slicker striker. You know what I mean? The way he knocked out Darren Till, that was no fluke. And I hate bringing it up. Love you, Darren. Shout out, buddy. Askren, I mean, he just rolled the dice off the get-go and it landed perfectly. Beautiful. And against Nate Diaz, which, of course, I'm mentioning those 3 fights in 2019, his breakout year when he became a huge superstar. And then he had those 3 losses. So far from done, but the fact that he said, this is, there's a good chance he's going to retire after this if he doesn't get the job done. And we had this conversation on Monday's show, so we're not going to rehash that. But I do think it's a close fight. I think Gilbert has the edge in power without question. He's a heavy-handed fighter. He really is. Just got natural heavy hands. But he's not as fast, and he's probably not as slick or as tricky. I'm not sure, but I don't recall. You don't see Gilbert. He's not the type of guy switching stances and using tons of feints or whatever. He's a guy that's going to come forward. He's going to throw bombs and swing, or he's going to stay all the way out and be strategic and wait to enter and wait to get the body lock like he did against Neil Magny. So it's a phenomenal fight. If I was to ask you, Anthony Smith, to go out there, put yourself on a limb, not sit on the fence, and potentially upset one of them, and make a prediction, I mean, where are we going?
I mean, you got to go Gilbert Burns. I mean, and I hate to say that because I connect, I think personally with Gilbert or with Masvidal just because he's been in the game a long time. He's got a lot of fights. He's the OG. He's one of the realest goddamn dudes. You never have to wonder where you're at with him. He says what he speaks his mind. I like that, but I just, I got to go with Gilbert. I think that he's got more ways to win. I do agree with you that I think he's got more power. I think that Masvidal does a really good job fighting at distance, at a longer range and being slick and tricky. And he does have power in his hands as well, but I don't think Gilbert gives him the space to work like that. I think anytime Masvidal wants to open up, I do think Gilbert goes to the body lock and at least shuts down the trickiness and slickness of Masvidal. And if it ends up on the ground, I've rolled with Gilbert before, and that's a nasty place. It's not a very fun thing to do. It's not at all.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't look like it.
Well, and it doesn't. Masvidal's been working so hard in his wrestling. I wonder how hard he's been working, like on the jiu-jitsu. Of course, he's doing jiu-jitsu and he's training and whatever. But he spoke a lot about after the Colby fight how he was going in the wrestling room and he was working on that. Well, like that's only a small part of the problem when it comes to Gilbert Burns, because once you're there, it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. He's way better than he gets credit for. But
I think Gilbert,
as good as he is and as highly as he's talked about when it comes to jiu-jitsu, he's even better than that. Like I still think he's getting undersold on how good he is.
Yeah, well, no, he's phenomenal. But you know what? Just to go back to Masvidal for a second, he's only been stopped twice with strikes. Once against Usman, and then way back years ago, there was another one on some weird fight. Let's have a look. Where was it? Rodrigo Dam. December 11th, 2007. They're the 2 knockouts. And then in terms of submissions, he has been submitted twice. So let's have a look. Who was that? We're going way back on his Wikipedia page here. Right. Toby Imada. We all know that guy.
Inverted triangle, yeah.
Inverted triangle, Bellator 5. And then a rear naked choke against Paul Rodriguez. Again, long time ago. That was 2000.
I don't know that he finishes him.
Yeah. It's a great fight. It's hard to go against Gilbert Burns. I agree with everything you say, but there's also a little part of me that wouldn't be surprised, though, if Masvidal pulls it out the bag, because he is so slick. But both men are getting on. Gilbert's 36, Masvidal's 38. So neither men's spring chickens. But the beauty of that is that they're not old enough to where the body's slowing down, but the body's still working very well. But then the mind now is that it's almost at its peak in terms of handling the emotions, the strategy, because you want your body to be going 100 miles an hour, but your mind almost in neutral. You know what I mean? That's the thing that Pereira used to always say. You're going fast and going hard. Slow your mind down, though. Your mind doesn't have to be going like that. You know what I mean? And it's a hard thing to do when you're in the heat of the moment. So Harrington and Brian, give me a quick prediction, guys, please. I want to know where you're going before I give you one.
I don't see Jorge Masvidal coming out with a W in this one.
Even after he gave up the time and he did an interview for our channel, and that's what you got to say. Jesus, Brian.
Gilbert Burns is a bad man, dude. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What about Herringbone? Is he here?
I'm going to say the exact opposite. When everybody counts out Jorge Masvidal, that's when Jorge Masvidal shocks and surprises people.
See?
I think he's one of the biggest underdogs on this card. To me, it's just, man, how do you not take Jorge Masvidal at nearly 4-1?
And let me ask you this, your guy, Premier Fight Picks, who has he put money on, Harrington?
I mean, I'm not going to give out his premium picks, but I do know that he does have
conversation over.
I just want to make it known that I've been betting against Harrington the past few weeks and making money, so.
So whatever Harrington says, do the opposite. Right, okay, obviously, lots of great fights, and we're going to go through the main card.
Oh, you're not going to Harrington. You're not going to give a pick?
Oh, sorry, I did, yeah. It's a tough. I do think that Masvidal might surprise the world. He's done it before, but there's something about Gilbert Burns, and there's something about just how he carries himself, that quiet intensity. You know what I mean?
Our interview rings in my head a lot when he came on with us. When you talk about, like, when you said who's going to win, I just flash back to the interview. Like, that's just not a guy that I feel like is going to lose.
Yeah, he's hits hard. He's got the better wrestling. He's got the better jiu-jitsu. He fights just as hard as well, because you got to say, Masvidal, he's a dog. Look at that fight with Hamzat. All right, he lost. Gilbert lost, but still, Hamzat's a monster. And he pushed him to the brink. Oh, my God. So, yeah, I'm going to say Gilbert Burns. It's 60-40. But yeah, Gilbert. All right, let's take a quick minute to thank our newest sponsor, Manta Sleep. Listen, sleep is so important. You don't get a good night, then you're not going to have a good day. It's as simple as that. And listen, our high-level athletes, performers, they all know that sleep is the foundation for everything good that happens in life. So, driven by that belief, Manta is on a mission to give light sleepers control and mastery of their sleep. With the Manta Sleep masks, you can maximize the enjoyment of life and unlock your full potential. And it's true. Listen, these masks from Manta are 100% blackout for deeper sleep. They're made of soft, breathable, and durable material, so you'll never worry about it stretching out or falling off. And they've got all different kinds. I mean, for example, they have the brand new Sound Mask featuring a razor-thin Bluetooth headphones with a 20-hour battery life. And listen, try these products out. If you don't like them, then you can send it back and get a complete cash back, money back return, a 60-day risk-free trial, and free shipping in the USA. So give it a try right now. Go to mantasleep.com. See their full selection of sleep accessories. They've got everything you need. Body pillows, weighted blankets, sleep machines, everything that the light sleeper could need. And also, as I say, check out mantasleep.com, but use that promo code Bisping. That will get you a nice 10% discount when you buy the perfect gift for yourself or that light sleeper that everybody knows. So, Manta, sleep better anywhere, anytime. All right, let's get back to it. So, Harrington, I'm just looking at the notes real quick. Let's have a non-MMA story. Jump on, please, and show yourself. What do we have in terms of non-MMA?
Couple medical stories. One, a massive lawsuit against a health giant, and the other one, new research on exercise. Which one's more interesting to you guys?
Let's do the research on exercise. And I saw this story on the Joe Rogan. It wasn't the Joe Rogan podcast. I saw like a reel of it this morning, and I thought it was very interesting, and it's clearly obvious. But Harrington, set the stage, please.
So the University of South Australia came up with a new research study. It essentially found that people who are dealing with mental health issues, its exercise is 1.5 times more effective in treating that than the council or the leading pharmaceuticals that they give people. They said it especially helps people who are dealing with depression, pregnancy and postpartum, and weirdly enough, kidney diseases.
Right. Well,
Wow. Rogan's been saying that for years.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Like this morning, as I say, I got out before I had to do this. I like to give myself that boost, that natural boost. And I'm not talking about caffeine or whatever. But when I work out, that's why I run most days. Most days I'll run and lift weights and whatnot because I feel great. After I do that, I release those endorphins and I just feel fantastic and I'm way more productive. If you're sitting around, right, and listen, of course, mental health, depression, there's many, many reasons why somebody might be going through that. Who knows? Maybe they had a super traumatic childhood. Maybe there was some sexual abuse issues. I don't know what, right? So you can't generalize everybody. But I think for a lot of people that are stuck in a rut, that are experiencing depression, not on perhaps maybe a suicidal level, but just generally stuck in a rut. They're overweight. They feel crap. They kind of feel lost in life. They've got no desire, no ambition. They don't want to get up and go. If they just get off their ass and get outside and get one foot going in front of the other, do a bit of workout, get the heart pumping. I'm not talking about losing weight or anything. I'm talking about the mind. You feel better. You're in a better mood. Your relationships are better with people around you, with your wife, your loved one, because you just don't feel like you're in a shitty funk. And it's like, can't be arsed today. I'm just going to sit here and watch TV and be bored and depressed. Yeah, no wonder you're depressed. You're sitting on your ass watching this shit on TV all day. Get up and do something. Get out there and get amongst it in life. What do you think, Ant?
Yeah, I've been very open about, my mental health. I don't want to say struggles, but it's something I got to manage for sure. Just shit in my past and I got a lot going on. And if I don't manage it, the fucking wheels fall off. And that's okay. But I will say though, when here's what happens to me a lot. And this is how I've come to believe a long time ago that the exercise can truly change your life. Anytime that I've been injured and been out for a long time, whether I'm, had a surgery, it's a fight injury or something, and I can't do a lot.
Where you going?
My life falls apart. At least that's how it feels inside. Like if I'm just sitting around and I can't move around, I'm on crutches, or I've had surgery and I can't do a lot, or when I had the blood clot and I couldn't do anything, for it was like 8 months, I couldn't do shit. I just go insane in my head. And it's not like I just love working out so much that it's not that at all. It's that I feel so much better when I burn that extra energy and I get my heart going it's just, even now when I'm in training camp, like, sometimes I'll wake up and I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing this shit. I'm tired. I'm sore. I'm beat up. And then the whole way to practice, I'm just kind of moping around. And then I get there and I train. And then like the rest of my day is fantastic after I start that first training session. Even my wife, the other thing that tends to happen or used to happen more I'm in these training camps and I'm away from home and I miss my family and I got a bad case of FOMO. I'm missing out on a whole bunch of shit going on back home, and I miss my friends and miss my family. So then when I fight and I come home, for like a month, you can't drag me to a goddamn gym. Cause I'm just sick of looking at it, but then every single time what slowly starts to happen is those weird feelings start coming in. I start getting down and in a funk, and then my wife is like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so irritable or down? And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me is I haven't been doing anything. So then she'll call my coaches and say, you need to get this goddamn guy to the gym and get him working out. And then once I get going again, I'm like, wow, I feel so much better. I'm just such an idiot. I don't know why I let that happen to myself.
Get this psycho a fight quick.
Yeah.
No. But another thing, all jokes aside, is like, the little problems in life that you sometimes let get on top of you and you perceive them to be bigger issues than what they are, or maybe you're anxious about something or whatnot, or you're stressing out. Because I'm like that. I overthink everything. You know, people think I don't give a shit. I do. I overthink everything, and I start bloody thinking about every possible outcome and all the rest of it. And I start thinking doom and gloom or whatever. I'm thinking, oh crap, this is going to happen. The world's going to come falling in. The sky's going to fall in. And then I go work out. I go to the gym, and I'm like, what was I thinking? That was nonsense. So it's not even a big deal. And I know that might sound cliched, but it's completely true. I go and I come back. I'm like, who cares? It was nothing.
Right. Or those late nights. It's like those late nights in bed when you're trying to go to sleep, and then you just like if you haven't worked out that day or you haven't done anything, you're like you start worrying about shit that may or may not never happen. You know what I mean?
Especially if you have an edible. I lie there in bed. Oh no! Thinking every possible scenario. Shit, I'm getting fired on 5 accounts. I'm going to get sued off that guy. I'm going to get done on that guy. Oh my God, my wife's going to leave me. I'm like, oh my God, my kids hate me. And then, then you wake up and everything's okay. You go for a run and all of a sudden everything's tickety-boo.
Everything's fine.
But in all seriousness, it really, really does. So if you're out there, just try getting out there in the nature. Not even on a treadmill.
I got a question for you.
I find it going out in nature the best bit, but go ahead.
Do you feel like when you... Here's the problem I run into every once in a while where someone is, I don't know, you're around them or it's a friend of a friend or whatever. And they're talking about, man, I'm just so down and I can't get going. I'm not motivated. And then you want to say like, you know, what's going to make you feel better. Like, why don't you start with getting some exercise? And then everyone looks at you like, oh, of course, the professional athlete would say exercise.
Like it's that easy.
Yeah, like you're just some meathead bro or something. Like, it's like people kind of shit on you. You're like, go get some exercise. Like, oh yeah, well that works for you. No, I'm not saying. I love. You were talking about the Peloton. I love my Peloton. Anytime I'm feeling like shit or whatever, I just go get on the Peloton and just tune out, and I feel way better afterwards.
Slightly off topic here though, but I don't pay for the monthly subscription anymore because it's too expensive. And my wife calls me cheap, and you can call me cheap all you want, but I ain't paying 50. No way. I've had that Peloton for years, and then after a while it wasn't being used, and I'm like, it's like $50 a month or something just for access to the online. And the instructors, they do my head in now. They're all full of positive. Oh my God, you're slaying it. Look at you. Oh my God, you're awesome. I'm like,
yeah, look at me. Look at me.
No. I'm like, how do you know I'm killing it? You don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing the bare minimum. So
do you do the live classes? Oh, or did you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I used to do my head in. So now I put the music on and I just do my own little thing. Like today I did a minute, just nice and casual, then 4 minutes up on like 75 resistance going for it. 6 rounds, 30 minutes, come down here, jump on the podcast, dabbing myself because I'm still sweating like a bitch. But yeah, and you go see a doctor and all they want to do is prescribe medication as well, which of course a doctor's going to do. And it's crazy. You go to the doctors these days. I was having this conversation on Twitter recently about Adderall. Jake Shields shared Adderall and a meth are essentially the same thing, but Adderall's just weaker. And I think we might have talked about this, but a few years ago, when Ellie was at high school, she wasn't doing too well. She was hanging with, I'm sure they're nice kids, but they were just, they weren't interested. They weren't motivated. They were smoking a bit of weed and stuff like that. And just her grades dropped significantly. They were awful. They were in the toilet. And the teachers were like, well, she's not motivated or anything and all the rest of it. She was just going through a weird teenage phase, wanted to find them herself. And the teacher said, have you taken her to a doctor? She went to a doctor. There was no test. There was no quiz. When I say a test, I mean like a verbal test, asking questions.
Like some sort of blood test.
There was no examination whatsoever. There was one appointment which lasted 10 minutes long, and she came walking out with an Adderall prescription. I'm like, no way. Let me try that. Blew my head off. Well, I'm like, well, you're not having that. And people on Twitter, because I said that, they're like, well, you obviously don't have ADD. I don't. I reckon I goddamn do have ADD. I'm all over the place. My daughter does not. She's now a straight A student. She's killing it. She's doing fantastic. She's motivated. She just went through a shitty teenage phase. And much like that, other doctors, you go see a doctor, they're not going to say, go and exercise, get outside. They'll go, here you go. Here's a prescription.
Right. So that you keep coming back. So my wife has ADD really bad, really, really bad.
Really?
And so she's been on Adderall before. She switched to something that's very similar to Adderall. It's just a different brand, different med. And I am blown away at what that shit does to her. She takes that stuff and like she can go to sleep. Like it doesn't change her at all. It does. zone her in a little bit. And to be honest, she's a whole lot easier to live with.
Super focused and intense.
Her brain is all over the place. Like she's like squirrel, like every 5 minutes. So I'm glad that she takes it. But there has been times where, like, I don't know, it wasn't even that long ago. I don't know, it was a few months back, and I had like 0 sleep in like 3 days or something. I just been super busy and traveling, and we were at something like super important. She was like, "Here, just take half of one of these," and like gave me.
Perk yourself up.
I was fucking zooming like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've like had a hard time sleeping like even that night. Like it was like the worst geeked out feeling I've ever had in my whole life. It was awful. And I was like, "You take these things every day?" And she was like, "Yeah, it doesn't do anything to me."
Yeah, like, no, exactly. If you've got proper ADD, apparently it doesn't do that at all.
It doesn't do shit to her. She'll fall asleep.
For me,
it's crazy.
She had that one prescription. I was like, got a lot of research to do this weekend. I'm a little tired. Pop one of those bad boys. Woof. Watching fights, doing this, making phone calls, and go sweating my head off, sitting on the Peloton, doing an exercise bag, smoking a cigarette. Let's fucking go.
That's exactly how I was like, oh my God, I'm losing. I got so nervous. Christ. I'm like, does everybody know how fucked up I am right now? This is crazy. I'm
like, this stuff's amazing. Oh, dear.
Like, I'll never do that shit again.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about that. Main event, UFC 287. We know Pereira versus Israel Adesanya, the rematch. Izzy's down 3. He says it's my last chance at beating Pereira. I mean, there's a lot on the line for Izzy here, because typically you don't get 4 shots. Granted, it's across 2 different sports. I respect Izzy. We've talked about this, the fact he's taking him on again straight away. Pereira is a goddamn animal. He's an absolute beast. He hits like a truck. We know this. Harrington, is there anything we need to know? Is there any headlines from Israel Adesanya or Alex Poatan Pereira? We know he's training with Chuck Liddell, the Iceman. We know he trains with Glover Teixeira. And I'm filling time until you show your half-bearded face. There we go.
My face is fully bearded.
It's back with a vengeance.
So the only 2 big headlines I have, a lot of people are talking about Israel Adesanya possibly using his wrestling, as he was pretty effective in the first fight with it. Glover Teixeira said absolutely not, right? He found his way into 1 takedown and rode out a round with it, but to actually grapple with Alex Pereira over the course of 5 rounds, just not going to be possible for someone like Izzy. And then in addition, Pereira, looking past this fight, said that he's interested in a Costa or Whitaker fight, but will not entertain a challenge from Hamza if he wants to move up.
Yeah, we saw that. We'll talk about that after. But what do you think?
I don't think Glover's wrong. I don't think Glover's wrong at all. It's just not Izzy's style. And I just feel like the knockout has clouded a lot of people's memory of that fight. He doesn't need to wrestle for 5 rounds. He's good enough on his feet to win that fight. He's winning almost all of it until he didn't, and I know that Izzy's doing a good job of not talking about that though. And that I watched his media day, and I thought, I don't know, I was afraid that what I didn't want to hear is like, well, I was beating his ass the whole entire time, and all I got to do is do the same thing and just not get caught. That's what I was afraid of hearing. And I didn't really hear that. He did say, like, I think I was winning all of that fight. If there was 3 more seconds and 1 shot, I had at the end of the first, I'd have finished him. But I liked everything I heard as far as his mentality goes. I don't think he needs to wrestle. Should he mix it in a little bit? Absolutely, just to keep Pereira on his heels a little bit and not running downhill. If Alex has got to worry about a takedown, and at least the threat of a takedown, he's not going to be so hard pressure forward. So you can get him on his heels a little bit and give him something else to think about. Give him a little bit, even a distraction. Just the threat of it changes things. So, but I don't think that Izzy has to. I think he can win this fight 25 minutes straight on his feet.
Well, of course you can, and he was on track to doing that. We know that. Now, in terms of the takedowns, we talked about that last episode. Yeah, Izzy can learn how to do them and he can execute them. I'm sure Glover's not lying, and I'm sure Pereira is a tough man to take down. You got to think there was an element of surprise in that fight. Maybe right. Pereira wasn't expecting that, thought it was going to be a kickboxing style matchup, and the element of surprise. As I say, there's a couple of things to point out. It's that, in my mind, for Izzy, You know, for Pereira, you could say, right, listen, just go for it in round 1. Because in round 5, when you went for it, you were able to get the finish. Well, but things changed because remember, in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, Izzy was getting backed up a little bit against the fence, but was sprightly enough, had the energy to use the side-to-side movement, the lateral movement to get away from the fence. It was round 5 that Izzy was a little bit tired, right? Listen, you can go 5 rounds and you can look like you're not getting tired, but you do not have the same energy, the same explosive movement in round 5 than you do in round 1. Yep. And that sounds so obvious to say, but that is partly why Pereira was able to push him up against the fence and just unload with that combination. Because
well, he finally had him cornered.
Yeah, he had him cornered because he was tired and he was a little bit slower.
It took 25 minutes, almost 25 minutes. 23
and something minutes, you know what I mean? So, and if he goes forward and does that, I think he could run onto punches, you know, so he's got to be, I think Pereira's going to respect him for sure. He's got to respect his punching power. Round 1, correct. You know, if there was 30 seconds left, it could have been finished right then and there. I think it's a very, very close fight. I think also another point to consider is that Pereira is kind of new to MMA when you compare it to Izzy. And the more he's involved at these high-level fights, high-level camps, bringing in a lot of training partners and the pressure, you know, of being a world champion, he's improving every single time we'll see him. So I do believe there will be improvements in terms of MMA from Pereira, talking jiu-jitsu defense, submission defense, and wrestling defense. Not offense. I don't think we're going to see him hitting all my fucking platters or boogie chokes anytime soon, you know, but he will be improved. He will be better. And Izzy, you know, I think we've seen from Izzy, we might see a double leg takedown attempt. It's a good fight, though.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before, but if I go back and you look at all their fights before, and I even look at the kickboxing ones a little bit, because essentially what they're doing in MMA is just kickboxing at a super high level with some wrestling every once in a while, but mostly it's a kickboxing affair. And Izzy was winning all of those fights until he wasn't. You know, even that first one, the decision, was a little bit.
It was close.
I don't know. It was close. I thought Izzy won that. I thought Izzy won that fight. And I've never heard Izzy say that. I thought Pereira got
it, but it was a close fight.
It was very close. And then the one that he got knocked out in, he was winning. And then their last fight, he was, you know, obviously ahead on the scorecards, gets knocked out. But just with that information, and then he's probably a little more well-rounded, and just the law of averages. If they fight enough times, Izzy's got to get one. Like eventually, eventually he's got to win one.
If we just say that Pereira's better, he's more deadly, hits harder, and therefore that's the reason he's won. Well, the levels are there. They're not here. Do you know what I mean? The levels are goddamn there. Do you know what I mean? So law of averages, I've said this many times, of course he's got to get one. The only thing now is though psychologically for Izzy, and he's a very, very strong man psychologically. We did see this with Kamaru Usman. I thought the fact getting knocked out off Leon, he wasn't quite the same. You know, he has been knocked out the last 2 times he stepped into an octagon with this man. You know, that's a real thing. It's a real thing to overcome, and it will change some things in Adesanya. What those are, they may be positive, they may be negative. But there will be changes. Trust me, if you step into a competitive professional fighting environment with a man, he beats you 3 times and he TKO, one time flatlined you, and the second time a TKO, that's going to have some lasting effects to how you approach a fight with that man. What do you think those will be?
Well, you know, he talked a lot about hunting and not giving Pereira any space or room to breathe. I think that that's probably part of it, I would imagine. It's hard for a guy like Pereira to really sit down on those hard shots and really, for lack of a better term, just swing and bang when he's being backed up and he's got a lot of pressure on him. Yeah. I think if he goes out there and does maybe what the complete opposite of what a lot of people think, you know, be more defensively sound, more movement. I think the movement eventually is what kind of bit Izzy in the ass. Is he spent 23 or whatever minutes, super mobile. He did a little wrestling, which I think taxed him just a little bit. And And then by the end, like you said, he didn't have those super sharp, fast, explosive angles to get himself out, off the cage and escaping. I think if he puts some pressure on him and backs him up a little bit and keeps Alex on the, I don't want to say the defensive, but more steps backwards than forwards, I think that could be the big difference. I really do. I think if he hunts him down and he brings the fight to him, avoids the big shot coming in, I think that essentially the opposite of what probably most people would do with Alex. Like if I was fighting Alex, I would have to stay super safe, stay on the outside, look for a good opportunity to close the distance, get in the clinch, try to fight him in that mid to close range. Izzy's good enough. Obviously, he can fight Alex on his terms. I think he's good enough to put pressure on him and force him back, just with striking, which is an amazing thing to say. Like Izzy is the only person in the division that with striking alone can put pressure on Alex Pereira enough to back him up.
Correct.
With just striking. He's the only guy
there's
in the
nobody
entire division.
Else. As much as I love Robert Whittaker,
there's probably nobody at 205 either.
Yeah. No, because they're both that good. Octagon control. You got to control the octagon, whether that's backing them up or maintaining a neutral ground in the center of the octagon. You got to control that space, because allowing yourself to get backed up, it just minimizes your opportunities and your escape routes. Again, I'll say for those people, the layman, when you're backed up against the fence, you're trapped, you're a sitting duck. You can't go backwards. You can't sprawl. That's why a lot of takedowns are against the fence. You back them up, they can't sprawl. They're against the fence. You hold them, you underhook, whatever, up high, then you can drop down low. There's way more options when it comes to wrestling. Same with striking. They can't back up. It's hard to go side to side. If they go left, you can catch him. If they go right, you can catch him, whichever one it is. So going forward for Izzy, absolutely. And as you say, and as he said, hunting. Now, with all that said and done, I was thinking Adesanya was going to win this fight. That was going to be my pick. It was. I thought I've just got a feeling Adesanya's going to do it. A man that's as great as he is, a man that's had that kind of run, the stardom that he's had and the brilliance that he has shown, because he has shown that, let's be honest, many times. So I was going to pick Adesanya, but I just feel I feel both of these things, but Poatan, every time we see him, I think he is going to be improving. Mm-hmm. And he's got a blockbuster camp, and he's got a Glover Teixeira at the helm, who's a great guy. And I feel that, fight IQ is a big part of this. They're going to look back at that last fight. They're going to see some issues, going to look at the takedown side of things. And they're also going to address the fact that part of the reason why Izzy was ahead so much is because the output from Pereira was so low. There was low output. I don't know what the numbers are, the strike numbers, significant strikes. But it was, I just remember at the time it being very, very low. So higher pressure, more volume from both men, which I think sets it out to be one hell of a goddamn fight. So I'm going to say and still. I'm going to say Pereira. Although I was, up until this morning, because I was like, obviously, we're going to give a prediction. Do you know what I mean? Who am I going to say? And I'm sitting on the peloton, sweating my balls off. I'm going, Pereira. And it's just a hunch, because I can make a case for Izzy. I can make a case for Pereira. History has shown us 3 times so far Pereira does it. And I like Izzy a lot. I'm a big fan. I'm going to say Pereira.
Man, I think I'm going to go Adesanya. It's just, there's so many more reasons why he should, why he probably will win versus why he won't, Yeah. Again, I can make the same argument for Pereira too. This is one of those tough ones, but I just feel like I liked Izzy's mindset. All the skills, we see all their skills, we see the abilities. We already seen them fight a bunch of times. We kind of know what we're getting into there. Kind of know what they're bringing to the table for the most part. Are they going to make adjustments and get better in some places? Absolutely. But I just like Izzy's mentality. It seems like Pereira's not really getting to him. He's seemingly, even before the last fight, doesn't seem like Alex really gets under Izzy's skin too much. And Alex does spend
he's trying. He's talking a bit of crap. He
tries hard.
And I think it was John Morgan from MMA Junkie. Always gets the first question. Mm-hmm. He asked, it might not have been him, but he asked, what do you think about the merger between the UFC and WWE? And obviously he responds in Portuguese, and the translator says, this is great. It's a big thing and good for them. Obviously they're very good businessmen. And this is good for Adesanya. That's a good place for him to go, because after this fight, he's not going to be here anymore. And we know I don't know, he went on and said some other stuff, derogatory things about Izzy. So Pereira's trying. You know what I
He
mean?
is.
And he's talking a bit of shit about Izzy, and Izzy, for the most part, has been radio silence. Kind of like Kamaru Usman last time out. Focus on the job. Less talking, more work.
And it, they asked him, like, what's his theme for this fight? Because, he had the Undertaker thing, and then he had the Jigsaw theme. And, like, he didn't seem to have one. And so, like, he just seems really dialed in. Like, he couldn't give a shit about anything other than this fight. And I think that's, I don't know, that's what he needs. I think that's how he needs to be. And I like the focus. I like the focus and just the no bullshit, not dealing with any of this shit. I'm just ready to fight. He doesn't even have, Izzy's the guy that always sets up his next fight during like the post fight interview. Like, he's already looking around the corner typically. And that was his exact quote, I think. Typically, I'm already looking around the corner and secretly, I'm already setting up my next fight. He has no idea what he's doing next. They said, do you think you'll have to fight Alex again? He said, I don't know. I'm not even thinking about past this fight. That seems like a great mindset to have. So I like that part of it, which had me leaning more towards Izzy.
And same thing. It's, as I say, up until this morning, I was going to say Izzy. It's just one of those fights. It's a great fight. Brian, give us a 4-shot. Let's quickly get a word from you two. Let's hear your predictions. There's Harrington. That's a 3-shot. Do we have Brian or is he?
Brian left for the doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, he's vacated the building. So, Jesus, the wheels are going to fall off the show now.
I got this.
Yeah, are you sure?
Oh, you sure?
1,000%.
What's wrong with Brian? Is he okay?
I don't know.
He's
I just know.
Right.
Yeah, he had a doctor's appointment set already.
Little baby Aura, how we looking? How we doing?
Dude, she's looking great. No complaints. I'm enjoying new fatherhood. I got to stay up super late with her last night, just watching all of the content surrounding UFC 287. So I'm hyped for this fight.
Okay. Well, who you got? Who's your pick?
Dude, Pereira, the only reason he's in MMA is because Izzy talked crap in some interview that no one saw but Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
You know
I've seen it.
Yeah, I saw it as well.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, he is that singularly focused on beating this man. Like, Israel Adesanya wants to be a superstar. He's on the cover of video games.
He is a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Alex Pereira is living in the suburbs of Connecticut training for this fight. You know what I mean? Like, I've been there. It's a horrible place where the only outlet really is mixed martial arts training. In my mind, this guy is so singularly focused on beating this man that I don't like. We were talking about it last episode, right? Like Israel Adesanya is watching the fights and doing Twitch streaming or whatever. Alex Pereira is not watching the fights. He's watching Israel Adesanya watch the fights. Like, he's so singularly motivated on just beating this man and hunting him.
Yeah. But for all the talk and the bravado from Izzy, because you do see that as well, he's the same thing. He knows that. Right now, right, he's not the champ. Right, he was the champ. He was a long-time champ. He was a dominant champ, and with that comes a lot of money. I think he's the next best paid person. Well, not John Jones is now, but after Conor McGregor, before Jones came back, I believe he's the next highest paid person. Probably 3, 4, even 5 million per fight. You're getting ridiculous endorsements. He had an endorsement deal with some car. I forget which kind of car it was, but then he said something inappropriate and they dropped him, I think. But whatever. The point that I'm making is endorsements galore. His YouTube channels is killing it. You know what I mean? He's making a lot of money, and then that gets taken away by this goddamn kickboxer, this asshole that's following you around. So whilst he's saying all these things, and you're saying Potan is so obsessed with Izzy, well, so's Izzy on him, because that is the bogeyman, that is the kryptonite, that is the guy that's taken away his world championship status and will maintain that it doesn't come back if he doesn't beat him again. It's a good fight.
It's a great story. It's a great, the story is fantastic.
Story.
Like what if Izzy decides to like take up, I don't know, cooking or something, and all of a sudden you see Alex Pereira with a goddamn apron on, holding on to a spatula with a picture of Izzy and a red circle and a line through it.
Oh God, that's
you ain't
brilliant.
out cooking me, motherfucker.
Fucking Potan starts his own YouTube channel. He's like, I'm gonna get more subscribers. We're gonna do better videos. Alex starts breakdancing and wearing pearl necklaces and shit. It's like, you wearing one pearl necklace? I got 5. Check this shit out. Fingernails? Boom. I got you, bro. He's got those those long curly ones.
Right.
Oh dear. That's hilarious.
What a great story.
Fuck.
I love the story though.
Yeah, the storyline, as you say, is what makes it so compelling. All right, let's talk about Choq. Yes, we've been talking about Choq.com for quite some time. Listen, it's a natural testosterone booster. Natural. That is the key ingredient. Choq has created a new natural testosterone booster that is literally taking the world, sports nutrition world and athletic world by storm. And listen, there's a lot of reasons why I prefer Choq because, as I say, it's all natural, no BS ingredients. The labeling is very, very clear. You can see exactly what's in there. There's no label fluffing or underdosing. Everything is measured to exact clinical research. And listen, if in your life you feel like, your energy's dipped, your libido's dipped, you're working out, you're not seeing the results that you once were, and just generally you don't feel yourself, that could be because testosterone levels are dropping. As you hit your 30s, 40s, certainly your 50s, you are a mere shadow of the man that you once were. Listen, generally, all around the world, men's testosterone levels are right now at an all-time low. So give it a boost and do it naturally, okay? And along with Choq Daily is the cleanest research-based testosterone booster available. So along with the Choq Daily, be sure also to check out the Male Vitality Stack and the Stack Ultra. All natural and all fantastic. Go to right now, Choq, C-H-O-Q, Choq.com. While you're there, use the promo code Bisping. You will get a huge 35% discount off your entire order. So come on, there's no excuse. Choq.com, promo code is Bisping, 35% off. Good luck. Okay, Harrington, come back on and tell us what this absolute maniac YouTuber was doing in a Virginia mall. What was this guy doing? I mean, my God. Set the scene, play the tape.
There is no tape to play, unfortunately, because I'm assuming it is in the police evidence locker. But a man...
there is tape. I've watched it this morning.
Of the guy being arrested?
Yes. And then the arms... Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Just tell Anthony what happened.
Okay, so a guy who's a prankster, right? Like that's his whole bit. He goes on YouTube. He goes to tennis courts and like steals rackets off people. He goes to the mall and tries to convince people to play Naked Twister. Well, he went to the food court of a Washington D.C. A Virginia mall and just tried playing a prank on some guy. He picked the wrong one. A 31-year-old man just broke out his handgun and started shooting. Caught the guy. He shot the guy. He has been charged with malicious wounding. And he had to be escorted out of the mall by the police.
Hold on. Who had to be escorted out of the mall? The YouTuber or the guy doing the shooting?
Yeah, the shooter.
That was it? He had to be escorted out. He just whips a gun out?
He was arrested, obviously. You
got to leave, sir. I'm sorry. That's it. That's your last chance.
Sir, come with me. Follow me.
Right. There's the door. I mean, listen, I thought it was something else. I thought, because the video that I saw showed a gun on the ground. It was that's why I asked Harrington to set the scene. I saw a video. There was a gun on the ground, and all of a sudden there was tons of armed police approaching. And I thought the prank was that he was carrying a gun or doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what do you expect?
Have you seen
what do you expect?
Some of these like Instagram or TikTok pranksters where they mess with random people in public, like pretty seriously. Like the funny ones, like in grocery stores or whatever, they just say funny shit or pretend to fart on people. Like that's funny, but
or when they're walking along and they're on the phone, they're going, "Yeah, I'm going to kick this guy's ass" or whatever. I think who had that recently? Aljamain Sterling, I think. Yeah,
that Red.
No, Paul Felder.
So that guy, I talked to that guy actually. He's pretty funny. But he said he's gotten himself into some shit a couple times, like really messing with people, and they get pissed off. But there's a couple guys that I've seen, like they're kind of like the when it goes bad kind of compilation videos. And I can understand, like if someone came up to me just randomly in public, if I'm with my family or by myself or whatever, and like they do like fake muggings where they're like, "Hey, just give me all your money." Like I'd probably shoot somebody too. Like if you really believe you're getting mugged or like they're trying to steal your shit, like. It just seems like a bad way to go about a joke.
And listen, don't take this the wrong way. Certainly in America, where there is a lot of guns, you know what I mean? You go to somewhere like, even the UK is not a good idea. I don't know, somewhere that's much more peaceful, like Sweden or, Norway. Do you know what I mean? You might get away with it.
Big ass blondes will beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, just titty fuck you, you know. But you know, it's not a bad way to go.
It's
but
not a terrible way to go.
In this, like I just saw this morning, like they just passed it. You know, now you don't even need a license or a permit, whatever, to walk around Florida carrying a gun on your person. That would not be a good state.
Concealing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and a concealed carry. That would not be a good place to try this kind of phenomenon. This YouTube pranking and all the rest of it to try and get views is getting out of control. The one I hate the most is the one where they go up and they're like, hey, buddy, can you do something for me? Like, lend me $1. And like the homeless guy gives them $1. And then they go, yeah, I'm going to give you $1,000 in return because that was awesome or whatever. Listen, it's very nice, it's very kind, but it's also humiliating for the person. That's a human being. It's not, you know, yeah, it's a homeless person. Of course it is, you know, but they're going through a tough time. The last thing, if you want to help them out, you want to give them some money, do it without sticking a camera in the goddamn face. I hate it when somebody does something good and they record it and they put it on Instagram or whatever. Even like, in Starbucks, I paid for, you know, the person behind me, and they put it on Instagram. It's like,
just do it.
You're only doing it to get some kind of credit for it.
Right. No, it drives me crazy too, because I always imagine that like those people have families. They're like, I just see my dad on YouTube, like 1 million views, like being homeless or something. I was always afraid that I was going to end up seeing my dad on YouTube or something.
Oh shit.
Oh,
well, talking of which, remember, what fight was it? UFC 268, I think, when it was Colby versus Kamaru 2 and Justin versus Dustin Poirier. Yeah. Madison Square Garden. We went out with Darren Till and Pereira and a few of us, and we picked up a homeless guy that night, and I forget his name. And we took him out, we brought him drinks, and we had a good old time, you know what I mean? And we just treated him like one of the boys. And I forget his name, but anyway, I get back from New York and I'm scrolling social media, and the same guy is with the Nelt Boys in Florida, the same homeless guy. And the Nelt Boys bought him an apartment. That was like the purpose of the video. And I'm like, you said you don't want to see your dad on there. Like, this same homeless, and it is the same guy. I forget.
You're like mad. Like, that's my homeless guy.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm like, the fucking Nelt Boys are taking our credit. But to be fair, they bought him an apartment. You know, we bought him a few drinks and treated him like a dude for the night. You know what I mean? But yeah, that guy.
The Nelt Boys stole your homeless guy. That's bullshit.
No. But that what was his name now? I forget. But he's milking the system pretty good. You know what I mean? In terms of being homeless, he's doing all right. Yeah. What was his name? Anyway, who cares? All right, Harrington. Obviously, we have 3 of the fights on the main card. Is there any other big stories we need to get to before we carry on with those? I'm just looking at the notes right now.
I was just looking at the notes too.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about this anyway. It's the fight below it. Kevin Holland, Santiago Ponzinibbio. So I did see this on Instagram a few days ago that, was it Holland, I believe, sent a DM to Ponzinibbio. I said, listen, we both know, maybe Harrington, you can read the quote out, but he said, we both know we can make 170, you know, but why should we kill ourselves? Should make 180. Should we agree to fight at 185? Essentially, that was it. But Harrington, give the exact quote, please.
Here. Man, I know you make 170. You know I can make 170. Let's go eat some steak and fight at 185. Heck, 178. I don't care. Let's just not cut weight. And then he added in the caption, say, my guy, there's some fire-looking food out here. I'll buy you lunch. Ponzinibbio is not having it.
Yeah, he said, we signed the contract to 170 pounds. Be a professional. I don't care what he says now. Maybe if he said something before we signed the bout agreement, we could reach a new agreement. But now that we've signed, I don't care what he says. I think he's playing mind games, but that's not going to work with me.
Oh, real serious Ponzinibbio. Like, it seemed more just like Kevin Holland just like kind of fucking around a little bit. Like, hey, let's just do this at 85.
Yeah, you're right.
Like kind of like just being funny and stuff. And
signed the contract that I won 170 pounds.
So
be a professional.
Like, no, we're not doing that. Which is fine. I get it. That's super serious Ponzinibbio.
No, it is. But you're right. You're just Kevin probably dicking around, having a laugh, going, yo, Ponzinibbio, 170, I'll buy you lunch, dickhead. And he's like, no, man.
He's so serious. Yeah.
Oh, I like Ponzinibbio.
I do too. We see him at the Apex all the time, when we're working these events, and he is very serious though. He is very serious. Like when you're having a conversation, you're like crack a joke with him or something. He's just like, ha.
It's scary. There's a language barrier. He doesn't have like the full on.
Right.
He can speak English. You can have a conversation, but I don't think the finer nuances of sarcasm and jokes and things. You know what I mean? It's hard for him to understand. It's a good fight though.
He's so damn serious. I just go back. I don't remember what I said. It was like me and DC, I think, and we were like walking through like after the event, and I don't remember what DC said, and Ponzinibbio just stared and like right into DC's soul. And I got uncomfortable, so I just went, and Ponzinibbio looked at me and went, huh. That was it. I was like, I'm fucking out of here. This guy
DC has always got some comment. Do you know what I mean? DC's such a ball buster. Ball buster. He just takes the piss out of everyone. So Ponzinibbio, last time out, Alex Morono got the job done, round 3, knockout with punches. Prior to that, lost to Jeff Neal to Michel Pereira. We know he's a great striker, fantastic kickboxer, BJJ black belt as well. But you don't get to see him using that very often. Kevin Holland on the flip side, I think it was a loss to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson last time out. And then, hold on, let's just look. There was one before that. Who was it? Was it Hamzat? It would have been Hamzat, right?
It was.
Hamzat, yeah. We got taken care of pretty quick, but Hamzat came in super heavy and it was on short notice. What do you think? How do you break this one down?
Man, I've forgotten about the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight. I don't know. Ponzinibbio's super fast and explosive, but he's had some hiccups lately. He's getting older. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but Kevin Holland's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Really dangerous ground game, which I think a lot of people don't give him enough credit for. He doesn't use it enough, I guess, so that's partially his fault. I think that Kevin was doing a pretty good job of banging up Stephen Thompson there for a little while. And early. Wonderboy, kind of adjusted to, I think, the speed and the range and was able to, then Kevin, I think, broke his hand. So he was kind of one-handed there for a while. So,
yep.
But I was really impressed with the early version of Kevin Holland versus Stephen Thompson because I've trained with Stephen. I know that guy's really tough to deal with on his feet. So I was impressed by that. I'm leaning Kevin Holland just because of the range and the speed. Ponzinibbio is just, since he dealt with all those injuries a while back, he just hasn't quite looked the same. Still very dangerous, still super technical, really explosive. But like the Ponzinibbio that fought Neil Magny back in the day, that guy was a savage and very, very scary. But he had some real bad injuries. I think he had some knee problems, and he just hasn't quite looked the same since then.
Yeah, I think he was out for almost like 2.5 years, as you say, knee issue. I'm just looking at his record here. Beat Sean Strickland, Court McGee, Zach Cummins, Nardine Taleb, Gunnar Nelson. That was a super quick one. Mike Perry, Neil Magny. So he went on a great run.
That guy was different than the one we have now.
I hate to agree with you. I mean, I hate to say it, but you are correct because that was November 2018. Then he came back against Li Jingliang in 2021. Lost that fight via knockout, beat Miguel Baeza. That was a great performance against Miguel Baeza. That was a sick fight. And then, lost to Jeff Neal and Michel Pereira. Yeah, and he's also, I think he's 36 as well. Yeah, 36. So I'm leaning towards Holland. I think it's going to be a sensational fight. I think Kevin Holland, if Kevin, that's the great thing about Kevin because it's such a serious sport. Yeah. Kevin always has this aura about him that he just doesn't give a shit. Do you know what I mean? That he's just like, just like we're having fun. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. And, I'm kind of jealous of that mindset. Do you know what I mean? Because I was always so consumed by it and so stressed, even in the training camp and during the fight week. I'd have a laugh and all the rest of it. But deep down under the surface, it's a very, very troubling and stressful time. You're going to go into a cage, you're going to fight someone for 25 minutes and the entire future of your livelihood depends on it. Kevin's just like, hey, what's up, guys? I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? So I am jealous of that.
Do you think some of that is a coping mechanism? Like the shit talking in the cage and all of that stuff? Because he is very chill and relaxed throughout the fight week. But Sometimes it made me wonder if it was a coping mechanism while I was in there. Like he starts feeling nervous, like I'm just gonna start talking shit. And that's how he releases the stress.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's also in a fight that he's losing. I think, and this is just a guess, an assumption. It's just a conversation point. And if I'm wrong and Kevin hears this, he might go kiss my ass because I'm a fan of the guy. I'm not talking any crap. But in a fight that you're losing, you're getting out wrestled, you're getting dominated, shall we say. I guess it's a good barrier to criticism if you start messing around a little bit and start focusing on shit talk. And it's like it's not that important to me. You know what I mean? Right. So what? Because I remember when he fought, who was it? I think it was Marvin Vettori. He had a few fights. Hold on, let me just bring up his record here, scroll down. I remember, so he lost to Derek Brunson, Marvin Vettori, and Kyle Dawkins. And prior to that, he had 4 fights in 1 year, got 4 knockouts in a row. Anthony Hernandez, Buckley, Darren Stewart, Charlie Ontiveros, and Jacare Souza. 5 wins by knockout in 2020. And I remember at that time he was soaring, and he was, Dana was like loving what he was doing because obviously with the Apex being so small, you commentating those fights, you can see it, And then I think it was when he fought Marvin Vettori, he was getting taken down and he was just talking the whole time. And I think Khabib was behind us. He was sitting with Dana. That's why I noticed it. And there was no crowds in 2020 like there is now.
No, it's Derek Brunson. Yeah, I was there.
Was it Derek Brunson?
He was talking to Khabib the whole time.
Yeah, come on, give me some wrestling tips and all the rest of it. And, being funny. And it was funny. And it was very funny. But also on the flip side of it,
it was funny at first, and then it got weird.
You're blowing a 5-fight win streak here. Five wins in a row. 5 knockouts. You're on the verge of doing massive things, and you're blowing this. And I think it kind of just kind of softens the fact that he lost because he's talking shit and he's having fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just a thought, just a theory. Yeah. But still, in this one against Ponzinibbio, I think he gets the job done. I do too. I think he wins this one. I mean, he's great on the feet. He's tough as hell. He did break his hand last time out. Thanks for reminding me on that. On the ground, they're both good. He's the longer guy. He's a little bit more creative on the ground, I would say. Lovely at hitting those Darcys and Anacondas and things like that. Yep. Yeah, fun fight. I've got Holland.
Yeah, me as well.
All right. Harringtoni. Herringbone.
Yeah,
Harrington's gonna. He's definitely
we're not having his pick. Go on then, give it quick. Give us a pick. He's going
Ponzinibbio. Go ahead, just say it.
Give it quick. Give it quick. Quick.
Just seeing Ponzinibbio
not quick enough.
Come back from injury, I think Kevin Holland's going to be a little too quick for him. Yeah, potentially. All right, let's talk about Premier Fight Picks real quick, which is owned and operated by Bardia Helmy. And let me tell you, Bardia has been on fire lately. He's won 8 out of 11 bets, including 4 underdogs. He bet on Corey Sandhagen. He nailed that Kamaru Usman was going to lose once again, even though Leon was a huge underdog. So listen, if you'd like to bet on fights and you're looking for help in picking winners, then visit PremierFightPicks.com to subscribe. With Adesanya taking on Pereira once again this weekend, and with 4 more UFC events scheduled throughout the month, it's a perfect time to sign up. Bardia is offering weekly, monthly, and yearly subscriptions to get you in on the best MMA bets, quick picks, and analysis. But act now, as subscription prices will permanently be increasing starting 12 a.m. PST this Friday, April 7th. Make sure to sign up before then to stay locked in with the current lower prices for as long as you remain subscribed. There are currently 3 bets posted for UFC 287, including a big bet on the highly anticipated main event. In addition, 3 future bets, including 1 underdog pick, already posted for next weekend, upcoming Fight Night show, Holloway versus Allen. So sign up now to view all of that content and much more. And don't forget to follow the guy on Instagram at Premier Fight Picks, or on Twitter at PFP Handicapping for access to free fight breakdowns and betting analysis. PremierFightPicks.com. All right, so we did the food court mall. We did the what else did we do? Non-MMA. Give us a non-MMA, bro. Okay, how about this? A top Fortune 500 company, Johnson & Johnson.
No, not that one. Not that one.
Okay. Let's see here. How about this? 56% of Americans.
No, not that one.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm joking. Whichever one you want to do, buddy. Whichever one you think is a better talking point.
Yeah, I mean, this other one I have is just a silly little video. So let's do this one because I do know, Anthony, especially you and Michael, you have some kids who are one who's in college and a couple who are approaching college age. 56% of Americans now say that a 4-year college degree isn't worth the price tag, according to a recent survey by the Wall Street Journal and the University of Chicago. You guys going to send your kids to college?
My kids go to college. So Harrington, you didn't read out the full thing there, because 56% of Americans say they don't think it's worthwhile. But there was also another survey from the employers, and the employers say that they do look way more favorable upon people that have been to college and have a college degree or a master's degree or whatever you want to call it. I didn't go there, so it's not essential in life, but I do think going and getting a college degree and furthering your education, for the most part, can only be a good thing.
You know, as an individual, I didn't even graduate high school, so obviously I didn't go to college.
I left school at 16, and so there's no shit talk.
Yeah. So I'm going to sit here and tell the whole world and everybody listening that you need a college degree to be successful, because you don't. But goddamn, sometimes it'd be helpful. As far as my kids, yes, my kids are going to go to college. And if you end up wanting to do something later on that doesn't require college education,
fantastic.
Totally fine. But I've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money setting up my kids' futures and their college education so that they don't have to worry about it. So I personally am willing to blow all of that money if they go to, if they go to college and end up doing something that doesn't require a college education, then I'll eat that. I'm fine with that. As long as they have it in their pocket, I don't care. But all 4 of my children are, and again, it's going to sound super fucking bougie, and I'm really sorry. I don't mean it to sound like this, because I'm in a fortunate place where I'm able to set up my kids' college funds before they all get there. And I know that the rest of the world isn't in that position, but I'm willing to lose all of that. All 4 of them. If all 4 of them don't go to college, or end up having a job or doing something that doesn't require college education, and I blew all that money on all 4 of them, I'm fucking good with that. As long as they have the
that's
option.
Exactly what I was going to say. Because, you're right. Not everyone's in a position, but if you are in a position, where your family is financially capable of supporting you, or you can find a job, or just whatever, but for whatever reason, you can go to college, I would advise that you take it. Now, of course, you don't need it. It's not a prerequisite. It is not a guarantee, that you're going to be successful in life, and it isn't a key to the door of success. It's neither of those things. But for me, as a young man, I regret that. I started going to college. It's a free college. Blackburn College. Shouts out Blackburn College crew. But I was just getting, I didn't care, and I dropped out. That's one of my biggest regrets in life.
Mine too. I started too,
I just went to a string of dead end jobs after dead end job, paying minimum wage, and I was bloody miserable. Fortunately, there's other ways, there's other career paths you can take that don't involve it, but a lot of them do. You know what I mean? And I think it just gives you more options. And then also on top of that, I think don't be in a rush to grow up. Don't be in a rush to get out there and listen, if you need to earn money, because you need to earn money to feed yourself, to clothe yourself, to house yourself, hey, then of course you got to do what you got to do in that moment of time. But if you are fortunate enough to have the choice, don't be in a rush to grow up so fast. Continue going out there, getting an education, but getting some life experience. You've got the entire rest of your life to go into that hard workforce. You know what I'm saying? Get some further education, expand your options, have a bit more fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
Callum's having the whale of a time. He's on a wrestling scholarship. He's doing fantastically. He's forming friendships. He's building relationships. He's learning a lot. It's not the be all and end all. But 56% of Americans said they don't think it's worthwhile. Well, I think it was something like 80% of employers think differently. You know what I mean? So I'd read out the full quote next time, Harrington.
All right, my bad. 87% of employers disagree.
Yeah,
87% of that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a huge number to miss.
56% of Americans think it's not a good idea. So there. Yeah, but 87% of the people giving out the jobs is like, I don't want a college education. Well, almost fucking 90% of the bosses are going to go, well, you ain't working for me. Go Now listen, you can make money without going to college. Of course you can. You can have a wonderful career. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be a construction worker. You can end up with your own company. You can go 1,000,001 ways. But education's always a good idea. And that's coming from a dickhead that left school at 16 years old and never went to college. It's one of my biggest regrets in life.
Yeah, that's coming from two people that punch people in the face for money. Like,
I know.
Two complete idiots. Like, if we're saying it, maybe it's something you should consider. Because I'm right there with you. When I think my oldest was pretty young, and I was like, I got my GED shortly after I dropped out of high school, and I just wanted to go to college, and I just wasn't in like a place or a position to be able to juggle it all, working and training in college. But I do regret that, like, I never got a college degree. That bothers me.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much having a college degree.
We should go back to college. Me and you.
Oh, dude, let's do it. BYM special at college. we can be like 22 Jump Street. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've seen that one. Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good film. Yeah. Okay, we're going back to college. Let's do it.
Going back to college.
What would you study? What would you study right now? If you went back to college, what would it be?
I think criminal justice, probably.
Shut up.
I'm serious.
Sitting there, I'm your lawyer. Do you know what? I think I'd be a great lawyer.
I think I'd be a fantastic lawyer. But I'd want to be like an investigator, like on the first 48. I want to be like a homicide detective or something.
My old man would be a tremendous lawyer, because that's when my dad comes alive, regardless of whatever it is. If it's some kind of battle against the man, if it's a speeding ticket, if it's a fine, if it's whatever it is, he is all about it. I remember, like, I would, when I lived back home, I'd be like, oh shit, Dad. Whatever it was, whatever issue it was, like whatever little bit of trouble with the law, I would down in 2 minutes, and he would stop whatever he was doing. He would jump in the car and he would drive down straight away. Do you know what I mean? And he loved it, because he was up to all sorts, you know what I mean? And he loves to stick it to the man, so my dad would have been fantastic.
What would your major be? What would you do?
I don't know. Do you know what?
I could see you being like a PE teacher.
Well, that's bloody a bit knuckleheaded. Of all the things I could do at college, Bisping's he's gonna be a boxing coach. He certainly isn't gonna do communications. He isn't gonna do a podcast, anything involving any of that stuff. History. I think I'd like history.
I like that.
I like history. I like history a lot. Yeah. I don't know much about it, but I like it. Anyway, right. Listen, I've got 20 minutes left, sadly. 20 minutes and I got to jump on a Zoom. So we're doing this one super early today. So
we are.
We'll go through the Hujima flips. We'll go through the rest of the main card real quick and give some picks. But Harrington, anything big that we're not getting to? Did we talk about the bare knuckle press conference?
No.
Have you got the video? Have you got the videos, Harrington? We got to play this. It is.
Let me see if I can find.
Oh, it's so funny. It is hilarious because they got the press conference. Rockhold's going, yeah, I believe I'm a better fighter. And then Perry's like, what happened to y'all last time y'all believed? When's the last time Michael Bisping knocked someone out? And I'm like, you cheeky bastard. And then Rocco's going, I'm going to F you up. You're going to get F'd up. And then Perry, his answer was brilliant. He goes, I like getting fucked up. I drink on the weekdays. I like getting fucked up. Do you like getting fucked up? What a great answer.
Right. And then they're arguing about the jewelry. Like, that
was cringe.
You two fucking douchebags. Stop it.
Yeah, I know.
Stop it. Stop. Oh, mine's $70,000. Oh, that's
this
like
is $70,000.
Shut up.
And Rocco's like, no. That's a fake Rolex. Is that it? And he's going, what's that two-tone bullshit? Real champs wear gold. I was like, oh, God, no, don't.
Come on, Rocco. Don't do this.
Then
you had us all. And
then the best bit is where they square up. I think this is it here. Press play. This is brilliant. Rocco wipes the. Hold on. Give me some sound.
There.
Look at this.
What did Jill say? It's my first time.
It's my first time. Hold on, watch. Picks the nose. Picks his nose and swipes it on that jacket. Now, what do we think of Rocco's jacket as well? What do we think of that? I mean,
for him, it's great.
but not for you.
No, I wouldn't wait. He's here in Denver.
I'm sure it's very, very expensive, because he does like a fine piece of fabric. Sure. But
Rockhold is here in Denver acclimating apparently.
When is that fight? It's not this weekend, is it?
No. I think it's like the 29th or something. I think he's just here early acclimating to the. Yeah. I don't know for sure. I just know that a couple of my teammates ran into him at Landau's doing strength and conditioning. Right.
We'll talk about that a little bit nearer the time. Real quick, we'll go back to the main card real quick on this because I don't have too much time, sadly, so I apologize, guys. Rob Font, Adrian Yanez. I'm going to say I've got Adrian Yanez. I've just got a feeling Yanez has been devastated. He's got beautiful boxing. He has got to mitigate the reach advantage of Rob Font. Rob Font's going to be coming back with a bang, but I'll say Yanez on this one. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, sorry, Rob. This is less about Rob. This actually has nothing to do with Rob. It's 100%. I'm just a believer in Yanez. He's surging. He's got a lot of confidence. He believes in himself. I like his attitude. I'm going Yanez.
Yep. Opening the main card, Raul Rosas Jr., Christian Rodriguez. Rosas Jr. getting a big push by the promotion. Of course, I think that's 2 pay-per-views in a row now that he's opening up. 18 years old, bags of potential. 18 years old. I don't know too much about Christian Rodriguez, but let's just have a quick look at his record. Hold on, because he's not even got a Wikipedia page that makes it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I don't know much about his opponent, but just with the matchmaking that they're doing with Rosas right now, I suspect that it's probably a favorable matchup because he's young. They're not going to throw him to the wolves right now.
I tell you what, what's his name? Christian Rodriguez, 8-1. Lost his UFC debut to Jonathan Pierce, who's a decent wrestler, and then beat Joshua Weems. Anaconda choke, 4 minutes of round 1. So Rosa Jr., you got to be careful if he takes him down. If you're banging out anaconda chokes in the UFC, shows you got a very good understanding of the submission game. So Rosas Jr. does lean on the wrestling a lot. Does he have the submissions? I'm not too sure, but I will go Rosas Jr. Final prediction, Kelvin Gastelum, Chris Curtis.
This is a tough one. Kelvin Gastelum, I just feel like the old Kelvin is in there somewhere. It's just we haven't seen him lately. He's struggling to get to fights. I don't know. Chris Curtis is good though, man. I think he's got something ridiculous. Like I don't think he's ever been taken down in the UFC. I think he's got like 100% takedown defense or something.
Yeah. But listen, Adesanya, Gastelum.
He's a different level wrestler.
One fight in his last 6, okay? But we said it recently. Adesanya, Darren Till, Jacko Manson, Robert Whittaker, Jared Cannonier. All top of the food chain middleweights. Adesanya was the champ. Or not then, but still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The question is Chris Curtis at the level of those guys? At the level of a Robert Whittaker and a Jared Cannonier, number 1 contenders. Jacko Manson was on a roll. Darren Till was the belle of the ball. Adesanya was a 5-time champ. That's the caliber that Gastelum's lost to. So the question I think is more is Chris Curtis capable of being one of those guys?
That's a great question. And I don't think that we know that yet. And I think that this is going to answer that question. But I do find myself leaning towards Chris Curtis. I think that he's a great boxer defensively. He doesn't get hit a whole lot defensively. Wrestling wise, he's been fantastic as well. He fought Jack Hermanson though, correct?
Jack Hermanson wasn't a good fight.
No, it wasn't.
That was in London. Jack Hermanson was elusive. He used a lot of footwork.
Right.
Came with a savvy game plan, and Curtis was, he got frustrated and came off the game plan. That was just playing into the hands of Hermanson. But other than that, he's 4-1 in the UFC, had a long career, overall professional 30-9, 17 knockouts, 1 sub. I'm going to say Gastelum gets it done. I'm going to say because he bloody needs to. Otherwise, it's done.
He needs it for sure.
He's got the motivation coming into this one. Chris Curtis, I love the style though. It's going to be a good fun fight.
I'm going to go Chris Curtis just because you went Gastelum, to be honest with you.
Shits and gigs. shits and gigs. All right, let's do a question or two, Harrington, real quick. I got 10 minutes left, sadly, guys. We're doing this one earlier than usual to fit it in, but we've been going for a while. It's still going to be almost a 2-hour show by the time we're done. So, if you got a question, send it into bympod@gmail.com. Don't be shy. Get sending those questions in. Real, hard-hitting, documentary-style questions. We'll give you the answers. Documentary-style, Harrington.
If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, make sure to subscribe to the show. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review on those platforms. It helps us out. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever new episodes come out. And if you want to catch over 400 episodes you can't find anywhere else, ad-free and completely uncensored, head to gasdigitalnetwork.com. Use the promo code BYM. Get yourself a 7-day free trial. Check out over 20 great shows on the network.
And remember, we're all over Spotify and those like audio outlets. You know what I mean? So if you like to watch us on YouTube, that's great. We appreciate that. But if you're on the go, if you're in the car, you're at work, you're a truck driver. We have a lot of truck drivers. We have a lot of factory workers. Spotify or wherever you get those audio listens, And if you haven't subscribed and rung the fucking bell by now, for fuck's sake, since 2015,
do it now.
This podcast started in 2015. Make this the episode where you just fucking click, because we're right under the 200,000 mark. Do you know what I mean?
Right, and it doesn't make that big. It's not that big of a difference. Like,
get that shit
subscribe.
Together.
Just hit the button.
Subscribe.
Hit the button.
And then we're coming out. We're going to be promoting t-shirts. Anthony, I'm going to order some today. We're going to be wearing them. We're going to be selling them. You're going to be buying them and subscribing to the channel. Harrington, first question, please.
Greg Chiles has a question for y'all.
Hey, Greg here. Thanks for taking my question, guys. Looking to go to the fight night in Charlotte and watch Lionheart knock Johnny Walker into another dimension, so that'll be exciting.
Hell yeah, brother.
And it had me thinking about who's the best dance partner you had in the build-up to a fight. So the one who helped sell the fight the most, helped build it up, whether it got under your skin or not, who was just the most entertaining. And Michael, I assume for you it has to be Chael, because Chael's the best trash talker in the world. So that would be my guess. And then just suggestion for the show, you guys should do Brian's Conspiracy Corner every couple shows for Brian to go through a few random conspiracy theories and just have some fun with it. Thanks, guys. Really enjoy the show.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We can't do it every episode because it'll get a bit much, but every few episodes we'll go to Brian's Conspiracy Corner. We'll get a little jingle, a little theme tune. Just quickly, when I fought Chael Sonnen, it was last minute. I was meant to fight Damian Maia. Remember, John Jones wouldn't fight Chael Sonnen on short notice, but I did. And because of that, there was no time for any trash talk. There was no hype. There was no build-up. And it was just pure respect, which was kind of a shame for everybody. Who was your best, funnest, and most engaging dance partner in terms of building a fight?
I've never really had anyone too much trash. I've come at people for sure that have said things that have pissed me off, but I never get anybody that really comes back at me too heavy. I went at Hector Lombard pretty hard in the lead up to that fight, and then even during it a little bit. I came at Ryan Spann just a little bit too. Yeah, but he didn't really come back at me. You know what I mean? Didn't really say too much.
Just trying to think. There's been a lot over the course of my career, but I would say that ones that stand out. Luke Rockhold was good the second time out. Even the first time out.
Luke Rockhold has been probably been the guy that's come at me the most, though. We just never fought. Yeah, but he probably he's coming at me the most.
A lot of crap. I'm just looking at my record here. Anderson, we talked a bit back and forth because obviously he tested positive, so I was like giving him loads for that. Tally's Lightis, no. CB, no. Kung Lee, there was no shit talk. Tim Kennedy, there was a lot back and forth, but I'd rather forget that performance because it was shite. Prior to that, Alan Belcher, we actually went back and forth quite a bit. I'm looking at that. Jason Miller, that went on for bloody months with the Ultimate Fighter. Jorge Rivera. That wasn't a fun one. It wasn't fun, though. It wasn't fun every day. My bloody ears were smoke coming out of my head. Harrington, next question, please.
Okay. This one is from Jack Septiceye with a kind of a silly one.
BYM crew, I'm a piece of shit asking a piece of shit question. Now, Hasbullah's 20 years old. Means as a fully developed male. He's a man. So it begs the question. Does Hasbullah be fucking? Like, Maybe that's why he's so angry. That's why he's so upset all the time. Always swinging on everyone and just trying to stab everyone and doing all that stuff. Because he doesn't get no action. That's why he doesn't get no kitty. So, that's my personal theory. Y'all think it's big?
Oh, God. Listen. This is Dana's mates. This is Dana likes Hasbulla a lot. Choose your words carefully. The man raises a good point, though.
It's a great question. It's a great question.
It's a great question.
I don't know the answer, but it's a great question.
I would assume this. And I don't know Hasbulla. Never had a conversation. I've seen him in the room many times, and he is very small. I don't know what his condition is. He's not a dwarf.
Right.
He's not a.
Just a little guy.
He has a condition. He's little. Like my dad's best mate, Mick. He's come to almost every one of my fights, and I still see him often at fights. He's a little person, but he's not as little as Hasbulla.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. Hasbulla's got I don't know what the condition is. One would assume that there's very little testosterone in that body.
Yeah,
right?
you would think so.
That's what kind of causes you to grow, let's be honest. Yeah. It's not the only thing. Women don't have as much testosterone as men, and they still aren't as small as Hasbulla.
I would guess that if Hasbulla had another person that was exactly like him, he probably fucks.
He would fuck the shit out of him. God bless him. Let's go.
I bet he would. I don't know where you were going with that, but it just popped in my head. If there's another little person like him that's like 20-something years old, I bet he's getting it. And
there's some freaky women out there.
Yeah, you never know.
You know what I mean? And he's famous now.
It's a fucking weird question.
Some people, it's a weird question delivered by a weird thing. A floating piece of shit.
Yeah.
Which is what we're going to get called. If we don't say the right
we're
thing.
Answered, I'm like,
you're a floating piece of shit.
Hasbulla fucks for sure.
Oh, he does. Listen, the kid's famous. God bless him. Go get some Hasbulla. Just leave the cats out of it. There's only one kind of pussy you should be slaying. How much have we got? One more?
Yeah, Herb Bueno has a question about oil checks.
Let's go.
Hey, what's up, Mike? Anthony, Herb Bueno from Bakersfield, California. A couple quick questions for you guys. One, not sure if it's been asked on the pod before or not, but I'll throw it in there either way. First question is, if when you're when you're grappling in transition, are you allowed to, or can you finger your opponent's butthole to manipulate position or capitalize on that, that jolt moment that you will get from it? And second question, same deal, same scenario, but can you tickle your way out of position, or same right. deal?
We get it. Is that it? Like, you, brother, thank you for the engagement and thank you for the time and energy, but really, is that it? You're gonna go there, you're gonna pull your phone out and go, I've really been wondering this for some time. Can you tickle your way out of a guillotine, and can you finger somebody's ass? The answer to both is no. You cannot.
Well, legally, you could tickle. It's not going to work.
Oh,
because in the middle of a goddamn fist fight, I've never been ticklish because your adrenaline's pumping. But like legally,
the sensation for the tickle goes out the window.
You could try.
And number one, there's a barrier. There's a barrier between your fingers entering any kind of orifice. Not the ears, not the eyes, not the nostrils. But you got the shorts, you got the underpants, you got the cup, and you got the referee. And you've got your own goddamn dignity as well. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? He's got me inside control. I cannot get out. I'm going to insert my index finger into his anus. Said no one ever. Now, granted, the oil checking in wrestling, and I'm sure you're familiar with this phenomenon, Mr. Smith.
I am.
You ever oil checked a son of a bitch?
Yeah, for sure. I do it all the time in jiu-jitsu. But it's not actually oil checking, though. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like, that's what they call it. But it's more of a butt drag. And it's kind of like hooking kind of the tailbone area and like the butt cheek and drag them by. And it's a good defense. And it happens in fights. But as far as it's fast and most people miss it, but it's like there's not a finger in the butthole. I mean, obviously, like you said, there's some barriers, and it's illegal. You can't stick any fingers in any orifices.
Yeah, there you go. It's illegal. That's the only reason it isn't done. Right, boys, I got to jump off. We're going to call this one a day. I do apologize. But
call it on buttholes.
2 hours there. Say again.
You're calling it on the butthole talk.
I'm calling it on the buttholes. That is it. That is all she wrote. I'll be doing a little fight companion style thing on my YouTube channel Saturday if anyone wants to watch. Anthony, if you want to jump on and join me.
Yeah,
let's do it. Maybe we do it from the BYM channel. And then, Monday, we'll be back reviewing all the action, all the fights, all the madness, all the violence. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, ring that bell. Anthony Smith, farewell message for the believers.
No, see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the fights.